This is Indonesia, a nation that has sustained a substantial growth rate over the past 2 decades. But this progress has come at a steep price. Land conflicts have become a harsh reality for many indigenous groups who are being displaced from their ancestral homes.
Setidaknya selama 10 tahun terakhir ada kurang lebih 2.900 letusan konflik agraria.
The same fate could befall the Balik people, who now fear that their ancestral land will be taken away to build the country's new capital city, Nusantara, on the island of Borneo.
Yang jelas ini makam leluhur kami tidak mengada-gada. Kami pantang kalau berbuat bohong, arkayasa dan sebagainya.
This is just one example of more than 4,000 land disputes in Indonesia today. The clashes, lawsuits, and protests across the country have spooked many investors, except for some from China, making Indonesia increasingly dependent on Chinese capital.
Jadi ada kecenderungan ya bahwa konflik lahan ini jadi salah satu yang justru menghambat dari upaya Indonesia untuk bisa menarik investasi-investasi yang lebih berkualitas.
So, how could a 150-year-old conflict jeopardize Indonesia's sustainable future? And why is the new capital Nusantara being built on this legacy? Let's start here in Nusantara, a city that is supposed to represent Indonesia's future, modern, sustainable, and inclusive. Nusantara was former President Joko Widodo's boldest initiative. The idea of moving the nation's capital has existed since the Dutch colonial era, but Jokowi wanted to be the first president bold enough to start the process.
Kita impikan bahwa kita ingin sebuah ibu kota yang green, baik energinya, baik kendaraan listriknya, baik lingkungannya, udaranya, semuanya.
The new capital embodies a deep desire for Southeast Asia's largest country to become one of the world's economic powers. It also underscores Indonesia's commitment to sustainable growth. But here's the catch. Building the city comes with a hefty price tag, $35 billion. The state will cover about 20%, while the rest is expected to come from private investors. However, the mega project is already behind schedule and struggling to attract foreign funding due to major uncertainties. And that's not the only problem. There are growing concerns about the environmental and social impacts of Nusantara. Large areas of pristine tropical forests have been cleared, and indigenous communities like the Balik people have been displaced.
Makam ini sangat luas sekali, ratusan tahun sudah ini. Ini kan perencanaan kena pelebaran ini sungai. Makanya saya pertahankan, saya bilang jangan ada diganggu ini, saya tidak akan menjual ini. Biar berapapun uangnya saya tidak mau. Saya takut ini ada ketiwasan atau ketulahan kalau kami bilang, kalau sempat makam ini tergusur.
For indigenous communities, these lands aren't just property. They have been home for generations, but now they are being taken, either by corporations or the government, often to make room for massive agricultural and mining projects, or even something as monumental as the new capital city, Nusantara.
Walaupun saya dari suku Balik itu tidak ada mengatakan mendukung IKN, tapi kami juga tidak mengatakan kami tidak mendukung, menolak. Menolak itu kan nanti kan di unsur pemerintah, versi pemerintah itu adalah makar. Kami juga tidak berani mengatakan kami ini menolak. Kami hanya meminta kami ini diperhatikan, hak-hak kami, ruang hidup kami, buat anak cucu kami.
The latest study from the Agrarian Reform Consortium found that during Joko Widodo's administration, there were nearly 3,000 unsettled disputes affecting 1.75 million households. East Kalimantan province, now home to the new capital, recorded the highest number of land conflicts in 2023.
Memang rata-rata bersifat struktural. Bersifat struktural itu artinya konflik-konflik agraria, konflik-konflik pertanahan
Devi Karthika is the director of Consortium of Agrarian Reform.
yang berskala masif dari sisi dampak, jumlah masyarakat yang terdampak, luas tanah yang terdampak pula, dan kemudian itu juga diakibatkan oleh keputusan-keputusan pejabat publik, regulasi-regulasi yang diterbitkan di atas tanah-tanah masyarakat.
Currently, more than half of the land for the new capital is considered customary land, claimed by indigenous groups, according to the National Indigenous Peoples Alliance. While Nusantara promises a bright future for some, it leaves those displaced with nothing. Many indigenous groups are forced into poverty and dependency by the loss of their means of subsistence. So that leads us to a big question. How can Indonesia build a sustainable future without its indigenous people?
IKN sendiri kan mengusung konsep menjadi forest city, menjadi kota berkelanjutan, kota yang ramah lingkungan juga.
This is Bhima Yudhistira from the Center for Economic and Law Studies, an independent research group in Jakarta.
Itu agak tricky konsepnya, agak bertolak belakang dengan kondisi real di lapangan, di mana masih banyak masyarakat yang ada di desa sekitar IKN yang belum mendapatkan ganti rugi yang sesuai, belum mendapatkan kejelasan soal status lahan mereka.
The lack of recognition for customary forests is particularly devastating for indigenous groups in West Papua, as it accelerates deforestation, destroying vital food sources. In May 2024, representatives of Ayu and Moi communities held prayers and performed dances outside the Supreme Court in Jakarta, calling for their traditional land to be protected from palm oil plantations. They filed a lawsuit challenging a plan by a Malaysian-owned palm oil company to clear tens of thousands of hectares of forest. It was their last chance to protect their customary forest. But by the end of November, the Supreme Court had rejected the Ayu tribe's appeal to overturn the forest clearing permit.
Macam sudah tidak, kalau menurut saya sudah tidak peduli. Jadi tidak peduli dengan kami manusia Papua, tapi dia hanya ingin untuk mengeksploitasi kekayaan alam itu saja.
This brings us to the island of Sumatra, far to the west, where the palm oil industry has been expanding massively for almost 3 decades. According to a report from the NGO Forest Peoples Program, the rapid spread of palm oil plantations across Indonesia has sparked thousands of land conflicts. In 2023 alone, palm oil expansion triggered conflicts over more than 100,000 hectares of land, according to the report. The expansion of plantations in Riau province, for example, has had a profound impact on indigenous people, leading to significant displacement and disruption of their traditional way of life. Resolving these conflicts is vital, both for indigenous and rural communities, and the companies involved. But Chinese investors remain unconcerned about their increasing land conflicts, provided they have backing from the government and local security forces.
Nah, tetapi kalau melihat tren dari investasi-investasi asal China yang cukup masif, itu mereka melihat sebaliknya, logikanya sebaliknya, bahwa mereka melihat bahwa meskipun terjadi konflik lahan, meskipun terjadi penggusuran, tetapi selama dilindungi oleh aparat negara, dilindungi oleh pemerintah melalui aktor-aktornya, itu dianggap tidak menjadi persoalan.
Because this is what they can sometimes do with government concessions, a mining investment with maximum profit and minimal liability. This occurred in Pomala, southeast Sulawesi, in eastern Indonesia, with contaminated soil spread from nickel mines down the hills during heavy rain, according to an AFP report.
Karena ini pohon cengkeh sudah habis semua, gemetar. Ini mata pencahariannya kita sudah di situ, sudah kita impi-impikan anak kita nantinya kalau dia kuliah di situ pas kita naik itu tidak ada, itu hancur.
The estate-owned firm Antam is among the companies with concessions in the area. Despite the company's claim to adhere to environmental standards, pollution has devastated both the ecosystem and the livelihoods of local people. Rising impunity has attracted large Chinese investments. In 2023, Indonesia received over $7 billion from China. Beijing aims to control the global electric battery supply chain, which includes nickel mines and smelters in Sulawesi. But it's not just the livelihoods of local people that are at risk. Their deep historical connection to the land is also under threat. With the government usually on the side of investors, locals often have no choice but to rally together to protect their homes. In Vavoni, southeast Sulawesi, residents are caught in the tension between international demand for green energy and environmental justice. Several protesters on Sulawesi Island have been detained after land disputes sparked demonstrations, riots, and in some cases, armed confrontations. With no court willing to hear their claims, protesters face possible persecution if they attempt to stop the mining activities. The controversial practices have made many Western companies wary of risking their reputations amid calls to ensure environmental and human rights standards throughout their supply chains.
Ya kita akan kehilangan. Ya, sampai sekarang misalnya Tesla itu sulit sekali membeli bahan baku secara langsung nikel dari Indonesia. Karena setelah di tracing 50% dari critical mineral yang kita produksi itu ada di tanah masyarakat adat dan 70% itu ada di kawasan hutan.
Most experts agree that land conflicts in Indonesia trace back to the Dutch colonial era. In 1870, the colonial administration established for the first time the principle of domeinverklaring or free state domain in its basic agrarian law. This was intended to promote private investment after a century of state monopoly over agriculture and industry. The new law allowed the colonial government to lease or sell land to private interests, often for large-scale plantations.
Azas domeinverklaring itu adalah pernyataan negara kolonial pada waktu itu untuk menyatakan bahwa ini adalah tanah milik pemerintahan kolonial Belanda. Kalau masyarakat tidak bisa menunjukkan bukti kepemilikannya, maka ini otomatis adalah tanah milik negara.
However, this policy weakened indigenous access to their ancestral lands and sparked a rush of European investment in commercial plantations. When Dutch rule ended after the Second World War, the newly independent government in Jakarta maintained the principle of state control over land. In 1960, Indonesia came close to abolishing the free state domain with the Basic Agrarian Law, which recognized customary land rights and aimed for fair land distribution. But the promise of land was finally abandoned in 1967. After taking power in a coup, Suharto declared 75% of the nation's territory under state control.
Meskipun namanya bukan azas domeinverklaring, tapi praktek domeinverklaring itu ternyata masih dijalankan oleh negara. Salah satunya apa? Tadi yang Mas Rizky sampaikan. 70% kurang lebih tanah kita itu dibagi dua, 70%-nya itu adalah klaim negara atas nama kawasan hutan. Nah, apa akibatnya dari klaim azas domeinverklaring atau klaim negara sepihak atas nama kawasan hutan? Puluhan ribu desa di Indonesia itu masih dikategorikan sebagai kawasan hutan.
Because of the restrictive land regime, any indigenous claims to what is called forest estate have little chance of being recognized in court. Most communities lack legal title to their land as the government failed to adequately map and register lands and their owners. Due to the inconsistent legal framework and widespread distrust of the courts, affected communities often prefer informal dispute resolution over formal mechanisms. In 2022, the indigenous Sakai community in Riau, Sumatra successfully gained recognition for 158 hectares of customary forest by directly lobbying the local governor. This wasn't decided by a court or a legal principle.
Kami optimis ya bahwa karena berdasarkan pengakuan-pengakuan dari hukum adat ini bahwa kita ini memang punya hak. Tinggal lagi kalau negara mau nanti itu tidak ada yang sulit sebenarnya memberikan kepada kita.
Today, about 63% of Indonesia's territory is still designated as forest estate, where citizens are not allowed to own land or even seek legal recognition for the land they may have lived on for generations. Remember the Balik indigenous tribe who stood against the new capital? They live here. Their ancestral land lies at the heart of this development. They could lose it all. They are facing displacement and the loss of land that has been theirs for generations. This situation is also accompanied by inadequate compensation for displaced communities.
Kalau ini masih tidak dianggap, maka kami tidak tinggal diam. Kami tetap berusaha dan berjuang sampai pemerintah itu buka mata, buka hati untuk kami.
While many have stayed silent in the past, an increasing number of people are now standing up to protect their homes. Their demand is to end the legacy of colonialism and dictatorship and finally reform Indonesia's land tenure system. Will the new government do that? It seems like they have other priorities.